And so this one will center on a specific topic, which is the lies that Mia tells to justify Israel's starvation campaign in Gaza. So first, Mia denies that a famine even took place. There was a famine in Gaza.
There isn't. And there wasn't.
What is she basing that off of then exactly? Well, her evidence is of 5 Instagram...
You can't say Israeli crimes, dude. You can't say that, man. You've taken it too far.
Reels of
with your truth nuke.
Palestinians who are overweight. In her response, she just plays the videos and starts making fun of the people in them, laughing at them, making jokes at their expense.
أنا هيما بربخ من سكان مدينة غزة. لازم تسمعني أنت اللي بتشاهد الفيديو. لازم تسمعني يا أخي. إحنا قاعدين بنموت من الجوع.
He's been starving since breakfast.
Yeah.
Does she think that, like, if you put, like, a fat person in a room with no food, that they wouldn't die? I'm genuinely, like, asking. Like, I don't... Like, being fat doesn't mean that you're just never going to starve. Or you're never going to feel the impact of, like, a famine. Have you guys ever gone, like, accidentally gone, like, a day or two with eating basically nothing? And your brain, like, stops fucking working. Like, you're like, oh my God, like, you can't, you're like struggling to hear sentences. You're struggling to create responses.
Pretty disconcerting stuff. Her point here is that, you know, if there's fat people, there's no famine. That proves it. But that's not true. Famine, or IPC Phase 5, it has a very specific definition.
Phase 5 is a famine or catastrophe. And that's when the entire system has collapsed. That's when mortality rates are now elevated above what we call 2 per 10,000 people dying per day. When malnutrition rates are above 30% global acute malnutrition. And when food consumption is so bad that over 20% of the population in any given area are just not able to even eat enough food to sustain themselves.
So notice in that classification that there's no requirement that everyone looks like skin and bones. The post that Mia is citing here, where she's making fun of this man who's talking about his people being starved to death, it's dated August of 2025. And what was happening in August of 2025? Well, that's the month that the IPC declared the famine in Gaza. And at the time, because it was a famine, people were starving to death every single day. In that month alone, nearly 200 people died due to malnutrition, and 103 of those people were children.
It is a famine. The Gaza famine.
Also, other scholars have already talked about this, but if you wanted to destroy Hamas's legitimacy in Gaza, part of the process of that would be flooding the zone with food. Because if Hamas had no power over the food because there was no black market or shortage of food, and people had so much food that it wasn't a problem anymore, that would solve that problem. Oh, they're going to make bread rockets. They're going to make beef rockets with those. Like, the insanity that you have to take yourself to be so pro-starving a group of people is just insane.
The IPC classification of famine only happens when 3 thresholds are met: extreme food deprivation, acute malnutrition, and starvation-related deaths. All 3 have now been breached in Gaza City.
By the end of September 2025, famine is projected to further expand to the governorates of Deir el-Balah and Khan Yunis.
Today's report confirms our worst fears, that children's diets have collapsed, with basic nutrition out of reach for most.
More than 12,000 children were identified as acutely malnourished. It was the highest monthly figure ever recorded, and a 6-fold increase since the start of the year. Hunger and malnutrition are not only about empty stomachs. It weakens bodies, fuels disease, cripples health systems, and robs children of their future.
It is a famine that we could have prevented if we had been allowed. Yet food stacks up at borders because of systematic obstruction by Israel. Enough. For humanity's sake, Let us in.
And I actually presented this fact that the IPC ruled a famine in Gaza in my first video. And how does Mia deal with that? Well, let's just watch.
The IPC, the highest governing body tasked with determining famine levels, declared a famine in Gaza. Hundreds of people starved to death.
Words, 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 blah, 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 blah.
Hundreds of...
So, yeah.
I mean, yeah, if you ignore what the words in the sentence mean, they're just words, I guess. I guess that's how that works, man.
Yeah, that's pretty self-explanatory. Literally just plugging her ears and closing her eyes and going la 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 la.
Blah, blah, blah,
And as soon as you see this, the rest of the video is so hard to watch because she's using these like demonic arguments that are also disproven by the report that she refused to engage with. You're being manipulated by images of starving children because some of those children that are starving are also sick.
And of course, as any manipulative pro-pally would, he puts a picture of a clearly sick child who's very malnourished next to his fat mother.
I can't do it.
Oh, sorry, I was muted. Fat mother, and it's a normal looking woman. This is giving the free press, talking about how photos of children who were dealing with debilitating illnesses were also dealing with malnutrition. And I know that this is a shocking idea, but if you're already immunocompromised or already dealing with chronic health issues, a lack of nutrition will worsen that situation. And those would be the children that would be the most vulnerable when there is a lack of nutritious food. You don't magically stop being malnutrition, or I guess you don't magically stop dealing with malnutrition because you're dealing with other illnesses. It would be the opposite. So there's like, well, they're doing this to trick you into caring about the fact that the children aren't getting food because they're using a particularly emaciated child. It's like, do you hear yourself? Oh, okay. I wonder why the adult who weighs 3 times more than the child starves quicker than the small child.
Dude, I can't. The sound effects, the Pixar grin. This is not just like being confidently wrong. It's being confidently literal Hitler. This is a common method of starvation denial, right? I actually just saw Van Jones, the
I figured that's what you meant.
Former CNN anchor, making this point.
You have legacy media that's also terrible and falling for nonsense.
Right.
For instance, the picture that broke everybody's heart of the so-called starving baby turned out to not be a starving child. They cut.
Yes, he was. He was also starving. Fuck you, Van Jones. The child was also malnourished as well as being ill. Fucking scumbag. The argument of, hey, that kid's only wasting away because we're also denying them medication in addition to food is so fucking gross. It's just such a fucking scumbag fucking...
Out the full image that showed the sibling perfectly fine. That child had a genetic issue.
Perfectly fine is like amazing. It's actually like amazing. The idea that if you experience malnourishment, you need to look appropriately malnourished. I have no words. It's just, it's so like.
It was not being starved by Israel.
But it's on its face.
Can I also just say the descriptor of it was not being malnourished? Can you hide the fact that you don't view Palestinians as people any worse? It was not being starved. Listen, I can understand people describing animals and being like, what is it? What type of cat is that? What type of cat is that? What type of cat is it? Because they're kind of creatures, I'm like, I feel that. I think that that's reasonable. I don't think that there's anything wrong with that. A human being describing them as it. Okay. All right. Mm-hmm. The sick, starving kid wasn't skinny enough. Cats respect it, that pronoun. Okay, especially if you have an orange cat. Orange cats are definitely it. What is it doing? Oh, that's just the creature. You just ignore him. What do you... Oh, no. It always does that. It's like, what? Orange cats are just eldritch beings, yeah. Yeah. But I love it. It's great. Great little creature. It refers to the singular brain cell.
Totally monstrous, because in every case of famine, the first people to die from starvation are people with pre-existing conditions and illnesses, especially if they are children. So the fact that the children that are malnourished, as she says,
very malnourished,
are also sick children, it just kind of proves the point, right? The image in the thumbnail is of Mohammed al-Mutawak. His condition was described by NPR as being nearly all bone, with protruding eyes, a swollen stomach, and a spine so sharp and so defined it seemed it might poke through his thin skin. So that was the result of his 30-year-old mother being too malnourished herself to produce breast milk, and the restrictions on entry making it so that baby formula was unavailable. A widow, Al-Mutawak, went from hospital to hospital looking for food or milk to offer Muhammad and her other child, his 5-year-old sister, but says she has been unable to find any. The one remaining pediatric ward treating malnutrition in Gaza closed down this month, citing a lack of food and medical supplies. Mia's next defense of the deliberate starvation of children is suggesting that the images showing their hunger are not actually real because they're being staged.
Could you quickly tell me what this is? Quickly, if you could tell me what the fuck is this?
The caption says, Gaza aid scam caught again. Hand out food, smile for camera, take it all back the second filming stops.
Yeah, I can explain what that is. That's an aid worker filming promotional material for social media to help with donations so that they can purchase goods and feed starving people, hopefully. The reason they have to film things like this is partly because when they tell the world that they're being starved, the world doesn't believe them, and the reason they don't believe them is because of people like you. And that other photo you showed of what you refer to as staged Hamas propaganda, that's actually just a barrier between the starving people and the people who give the starving people aid in their pots. The photographer is documenting the scene from behind the barrier. At every humanitarian aid site, especially at this time, they needed barriers because so many people were starving and so few organizations actually had food that people were literally clamoring over one another to hopefully get some kind of food so their families would not starve to death. Again, the evidence she's using to deny that a famine took place is evidence of famine. And from here, she moves on to another classic, which is, you know, Hamas is stealing aid.
But there was a famine in Gaza.
There isn't. And there wasn't. And anybody in Gaza who is starving is because of Hamas.
It's like, you get, okay, can I say that I feel like a lot of people will sometimes overuse that one image that's like the abuser textbook or whatever. You guys know what I'm talking about? Where it's like, it didn't happen, and if it did happen, it's this, and blah, blah. You guys know what I'm talking about? Narcissist prayer, is that what it's called? Let me look it up. It's kind of incredible to unironically do this meme and not think that you're the bad guy. The starvation isn't happening, and if it is happening, they're not even starving that bad because they're still fat. And if they're starving despite being fat, well, it's because of Hamas. It's like, here's my thing. If starvation wasn't their goal, then why salt the earth, kill their livestock, and burn down the orchids? Orchards. Orchards. Yeah, I think like the best way to talk to someone who doesn't really know anything about the conflict is to talk about the West Bank and to talk about the settlements in the West Bank and to talk about the checkpoints in the West Bank and to talk about the treatment of Palestinians in the West Bank, constantly being denied the same basic rights that Israelis are provided, to talk about the fact that Palestinians need permits to use certain roads because they are second-class citizens in the state that they live in, to talk about the fact that settlers and IDF members alike will stalk and kill Palestinians in the West Bank, who, according to mainstream media, should have nothing to do with Hamas. And yet those people are still unfairly subjugated to cruel treatment. Because there's no defense for that. Everything Gaza related, oh, it's Hamas, it's Hamas, it's Hamas. So what about like the West? What about the people that are living in the West Bank that have a checkpoint outside their house that aren't allowed to leave their house without getting permission, that aren't allowed to use certain roads, that aren't allowed to be on certain streets. Hamas also did that? Okay. All right. And Hamas forced them to, let me get this straight here, burn down all of the olive trees in the West Bank because they belong to Palestinian farmers. Could you explain to me the math behind that? Because I'm just like, I'm not really understanding why this olive farmer had his entire field burnt down in the West Bank because of Hamas. Like, I'm not really seeing the connection there. Okay.
Hamas is stealing the aid. Anybody in Gaza that's ever faced some sort of hunger, you can blame Hamas.
How convenient for Israel that they can just do that. Again, just lying, right? There's no evidence to suggest that Hamas has been systematically stealing any kind of aid going into Gaza. And that's not according to Hamas. That's according to Israel and the United States. For nearly 2 years, Israel has accused Hamas of stealing aid provided by the United Nations and other international organizations. The government has used that claim as its main rationale for restricting food from entering Gaza. But the Israeli military never found proof that the Palestinian militant group had systematically stolen aid from the United Nations, the biggest supplier of emergency assistance to Gaza for most of the war, according to 2 senior Israeli military officials and 2 other Israelis involved in the matter. In fact, the Israeli military officials said the UN aid delivery system, which Israel derided and undermined, was largely effective in providing food to Gaza's desperate and hungry population.
Well, Noah Samsen, did you consider that evidence is antiseptic? Yeah.
According to the U.S. Aid Review, of the 156 incidents of theft or loss of aid in between October 2023 and May 2025, they recorded 0 reports alleging that Hamas benefited from U.S.-funded supplies. The report did implicate Israel, though. At least 44 of the 156 incidents where aid was stolen or lost were either directly or indirectly caused by Israeli military actions. Again, this is the United States saying this, right? Israel's greatest ally, the country that funded and is funding and defending tooth and nail the genocide Israel's committing. Does Mia engage with any of this information, any of these reports? No, of course not. Instead, she offers her, again, bulletproof evidence of Instagram reels, just like a handful of unverified, unsourced Instagram reels showing footage of groups of armed men in and around humanitarian aid trucks.
You see the Hamas members sitting on top with their pew-pews. Do you hear the gunshot? Here is some more Hamas aid takeovers.
So given the lack of evidence that Hamas is stealing aid, drawn from sources that have every incentive to lie about that, what do these videos actually show? And well, because they're, just pulled from some random Instagram reel, it's not entirely clear, but there's a few possible explanations. Hamas isn't the only...
What was it that Ethan Klein was watching from Hassan's stream? And he mistook he thought it was Hamas or something, or he thought it was like Israelis peacefully protesting. Meanwhile, they were actively trying to deny Palestinians food.
Armed group inside of Gaza. There are other armed groups. This includes the criminal gangs that are collaborating with Israel, like Yasser Abu Shabab's Popular Forces or Rami Hillis's Popular Defense Forces. And unlike Hamas, these groups have been documented repeatedly stealing aid, and they do so in areas under Israeli control because Israel allows them to do this. Israel helps them.
Yeah, it was the settlers that were destroying the aid, and Ethan said that they were doing charity. Oh, thank you, Oberga. I was about to look for it manually, but... When Israelis destroy aid, Ethan calls them benign dudes doing charity. When Palestinians protect aid, Ethan calls them terrorists and says that they are stealing it. This is just straight up racism.
Douchebags in the background.
These are just dudes standing back there.
Entirely comprised of messy.
And this is an ongoing joke with this community. These are just fucking benign dudes. I don't know what the fuck they're doing. It looks like they're doing charity or something. It looks like they've got water or boxes or something, like they're helping. And he's going, oh, look at these inbred fucks. It's like, bro, who are you? Who are you? Like, how dare you?
I forgot how bad this fucking clip is. Jesus Christ.
Guys, the Israeli police is investigating the attack on the Gaza aid convoy.
Israeli security forces are paid to stop this happening. They either could not or would not, but clearly did not prevent Israeli settlers attacking an...
But that should show you everything you need to know about his bias, that he sees Israelis standing around. He's like, well, they're obviously not evil, so they must be doing good things because they're the good guys. Meanwhile, like I think this is from the same time period. Israeli protesters block aid trucks destined for Gaza. And you can see the caption here is the description here. Israeli protesters blocked aid trucks destined for Gaza on Monday, throwing food packages onto the road, ripping bags of grain open in the occupied West Bank. Watch the Israeli protesters stomp on aid packages destined for Gaza. I don't know why this video isn't playing. Fucking disgusting, dude. I guess I must have missed the fact that the BBC is Hamas. Also, the Washington Post, which reported on this, is Hamas. It's the same exact event. That's what I thought it was, but I wasn't 100%. Oh, okay. Yeah, this is helping. Yeah, I actually go to my local food bank and then I burn everything to the ground and then I say, I'm helping. Like, how sick do you have to be? How much of a fucking sick person do you have to be to see food go to people who are starving and be like, let's burn it. Let's throw it on the ground and stomp on it. It's like...
Aid convoy yesterday from the West Bank bound for Gaza, where, say aid agencies, hundreds of thousands of civilians face famine.
But during the unloading and loading, settlers attacked these trucks, destroying the products and burning them in a systematic act of sabotage.
A continuation of images seen yesterday as settlers destroyed food at the same crossing point.
Ethan, when Palestinians protect aid. Hassan's friends at Hamas are videoed here, dressed as aid workers, stealing aid to sell back to Gazans' Way to Go team. This picture debunks Israel's recently released video of those armed men in yellow vests claiming they were Hamas militants posing as aid workers. Those are Abu Ghasib, clan members providing security to truck convoys to prevent looting. The clan actually has no connection to Hamas whatsoever. They wear those distinctive vests so that Israeli drones would see them and not bomb them. Oh, okay. Don't attack the proud Israeli tradition of stomping on your neighbor's food. That's racist. I'm sorry. That's racist of me to not consider the long-standing tradition of destroying food. And I should be more aware that different cultures are different and stop being so judgmental.
In November, nearly 100 UN trucks carrying enough flour to feed 2/3 of Gaza's population for 1 week were looted by organized criminal gangs. An internal United Nations memo obtained by the Washington Post revealed the UN believes the gangs have likely been benefiting from a passive, if not active, benevolence, even protection from the Israeli military.
Basically, every time Israel came under intense pressure to allow food into Gaza, they would allow the food, but unleash these gangs to come out and loot it immediately.
Netanyahu has admitted this, like it's not a secret.
It's the first time Benjamin Netanyahu has publicly admitted to Israel aiding armed Palestinian groups in Gaza.
On the advice of security officials, we activated clans in Gaza that oppose Hamas. What's wrong with that? This is only good and saves the lives of IDF soldiers.
In one of the posts Mia shares, the caption reads, "Either I bring food and flour for my family, or I die today waiting in front of the aid trucks." Israel killed nearly 2,000 Palestinians during the aid massacres in Gaza, the Hunger Games-style horror scenes where they were systematically shooting and killing large crowds of starving people that were sprinting towards.
Noah. Please, this is the most moral army, okay? They were obviously just pranking them when they said, here, come get the flour, now we're going to kill you all. That was like a prank, okay? And if you were Israeli, it would have been very funny. But because you're like a human being with empathy, instead of like a fucking freak that thinks Palestinians aren't people, you don't think it's funny. It just like,
The Gaza so-called humanitarian foundation, aid sites, mass murder of starving people, some of the most horrific scenes I've ever seen in my life happening live.
They queued all night, desperate for food, and came under fire. More than 60 people reported killed,
eyewitnesses say by Israeli gunfire and weaponized drones, in separate deadly incidents during a week of aid chaos in Gaza. The victims, Palestinians traveling to depots they were told would provide help, aid stations set up by the Israelis and backed by the US. A system that began under a cloud of controversy and criticism and is now at the center of 2 mass killings.
And so any reference to being shot at near an aid truck is not about Hamas. That's Israel. And this is confirmed in the post, actually. I didn't see this, but in the description, they talk about drones. Only one party in the conflict uses drones to kill Palestinians, and it's not Hamas. And the other videos that Mia shares here don't even show aid trucks being robbed. They just show armed men riding on the trucks, which is most likely Palestinians guarding the aid from looting by the gangs that are backed by Israel. Because of this looting, the trucks needed protection, and that protection was offered by Gaza police forces, as well as local family clans that have small arms. The Abu Mugib Clan Youth Association, for example, that's a large family network in Gaza. They've shared footage publicly securing aid in commercial trucks from the crossings to the warehouses, protecting drivers, preventing looting, and coordinating distribution with other families. International organizations such as World Central Kitchen and the World Health Organization asked us to secure the delivery of their aid. After we succeeded, our family-based group was formally established to serve that purpose. And these families, along with the Gaza police, the ones who are protecting the food, are the ones that Israel is killing systematically.
A Gaza market on May 29th. Armed men steal any food they can find. The same location moments later. An Israeli strike targeting the Hamas security forces who'd been sent to stop the looting.
Just yesterday, Israel bombed a Gaza police station and killed 8 officers, along with a 13-year-old girl. Mia has this story entirely backwards. And from there, the lies just continue. They get even more ludicrous. So she ends up actually defending the idea of closing off all humanitarian aid into Gaza.
Because Israel continues to block trucks of humanitarian aid at the border.
As we fucking should. See, here's the thing. I wish we genuinely did that. We shouldn't stop it for a short while. We should stop it altogether.
With the...
Sorry, I was muted. Who was it? I don't think it was Ben Gvir, but maybe it was, that said no food, water, electricity, internet. We have to raise Gaza to the ground. It was either Ben Gvir or Yoav Galant. I forget which one of those fucking sick, demented freaks was, which one of those fucking genocidal maniacs it was. Maybe that one was Galant. I'm sure, honestly, I'm sure at some point they've both said it, so who gives a fuck? That was on October 9th. I mean, yeah. It's just...
claim that Palestinians don't actually get any aid at all anyways.
And again, you don't understand how to fight these people. At the end of the day, this aid doesn't get to the Gazans. When we stop the aid, it's to stop the aid from going to Hamas. They're the only ones who take it anyway. So either way, the civilians are not getting the aid, right? So if we stop the aid trucks, it's not stopping them from getting to civilians because they don't get there anyway.
Before October 7th, over 80% of the population of Gaza relied on humanitarian aid to survive. That number is currently 95%, and it should be obvious why. Israel has totally decimated Gaza, including its internal food production capabilities, razing farmlands, killing fishermen, and destroying fishing boats.
For generations, Gaza's farmland has been a lifeline. Fertile
hundreds of thousands more were and remain without adequate food. And all the infrastructure for internal food production, like farms and fisheries, has been destroyed by Israel.
Oops! Don't start a war with us!
In Mia's video, there are a handful of moments like,
it's always baffling to me how openly evil Israelis will speak and act. There isn't even this, there's this attempt at civility among Americans. Obviously, there are lots of racist, evil Americans. I'm not going to deny that. But there are also plenty of Americans that when they talk about atrocities that America has committed, they're like, well, we had to do that. Obviously, we wouldn't want to do that. We didn't want to nuke Japan twice. But it was for the good of everyone to get the war to end. And it's like, at least there's an attempt. There's some pretending of trying to be civil. It's whitewashing history incorrectly to cope about the fact that we commit atrocities. Because most Americans don't feel comfortable being the bad guys and they need the pretense of some type of justification. And be like, no, listen, I don't want people to die for no reason. Like, it's when it's necessary that we have to do it, you know? Even when you look at like the most evil Americans talking about like bombing Venezuelan fisher boats, they won't say, I don't give a fuck how many of those boats are fishermen. Kill all the fucking fishermen. Kill all of them. Kill everyone in Venezuela. No more fucking drugs in our country. I don't give a fuck if we have to like, most Americans won't go that far. Most Americans will say, I don't think that, no, they're the ones sending the drugs. Like, what are we supposed to do? Nothing? We're just supposed to do nothing. We're just going to let them, you know, send drugs to our country and do nothing. Like, if they stop doing that, we would stop bombing them. We don't want to do that. Most Americans would say that. It is always baffling to me the number of Israelis that will publicly discuss genocide gleefully in this way with zero empathy. Like, they don't even care. Like, the Israelis don't even give a fuck if everyone in Gaza died. It would be a problem they wouldn't have to deal with anymore. They see children dying and they're like, I don't give a fuck. Terrorist babies. It's like, oh my fucking God. Also, from my experience, most Americans don't justify the bombing of boats at all, TBH Denims. What do you mean? Realistically, also, most Americans just don't even know what's happening in the country. And like, you just tell them anything and they're like, yeah, USA, we're the best. Like, I would argue that's actually most Americans. Most Americans are pretty tapped out of politics and don't know what the fuck is happening. And when you talk to them, they're like, what? What are we doing? I don't know. They just don't, there's not like this like severe hatred of like everyone else. It's just like, I don't care, America #1. Let's get some fucking fireworks in here. What the hell is a Venezuela? I don't know what that is. This is like another level. Like, I resent that Americans aren't as ignorant as you think. We were smart enough to vote for my Italian conservative mayor, Mamdani. Please shut up. Like, straight up, it's a little depressing to say, but I'll pull it up again. Like, I do think there are a lot of these Americans. I do think a lot of Americans are like this. That say, I'll read it again for anyone who missed it in the beginning of stream. In the week after the June 24 primary election for my mayor, I was determined to meet with voters in conservative neighborhoods where Zoran Mamdani, a Democratic socialist, had performed surprisingly well. In a Howard Beach precinct where Mamdani won, I met a couple who, despite being conservative, voted for Mamdani because they bizarrely thought that he had run, quote, to the right of former Governor Andrew Cuomo, and also believed he was Italian-American, as his name ended in an I, and he was from Astoria. Mamdani. When I dug further into why they thought he was running to the right of Cuomo, they noted that it was because he discussed, quote, prices and cost of living, as Donald Trump had in 2024. They both voted for Trump. They had a hard time believing Mamdani was a socialist because they believed socialists, quote, support making everything more expensive. Like, a lot of Americans are this. Does that mean there are no Americans with hatred in their life? Of course not. There are literal Klansmen in our country, okay, dude? Obviously, there are racist pieces of shit in our country who have genuine hate. But the median American is much closer to this than they are to, like, genuine, deep-seated, deep-rooted hatred. It's surprisingly easy to fix the stupidity in Americans with good education and more life experiences. Like, do you guys remember that video of that guy who was like a super hardcore right-winger and then he went to Japan and he's like, wait a minute, why the fuck am I against social healthcare? Like a socialized healthcare. This shit's great. Wait, why the fuck am I against trains? Cars suck. Like, Americans lack in experiences. They lack in experiences and they lack in education. Americans are first and foremost ignorant before they are anything else. Like, the median voter is first and foremost ignorant. Whereas the median Israeli, which is also shown in polls, because when they run polling and they ask Israelis, well, what do you think we should do about Gaza? Like, what if we removed everyone from Gaza? All of the Palestinians, we removed them from Gaza. What if we did that? AKA describing ethnic cleansing. 80+% say that would be the right direction for Gaza. Forcibly displacing all of the Palestinians in Gaza. Like it's so insane to me how there are so many Israelis that are just like, oh, I don't care, actually. I don't care how many children die. I don't care how many mothers die. I just want to, whatever we need to do, we can kill all of them. Whatever we need to do, just get it done. It's like, most Israelis think Netanyahu isn't doing enough genocide. It's like, oh, okay. I didn't consider it from that perspective, I guess. There was a poll that had showed like 70% of Jewish Israelis agreed with the statement, there are no innocent people in Gaza.
This one, where she does tell the truth.
Like, I'm just baffled at this. And I'm sure, like, I think the U.S. benefits from having a lot of diverse cities, because when you run into a lot of the conservatives, like if you go down to like Orange County and you run into the conservatives there, a lot of the conservatives in Orange County are dumb. They're dumb, again, before anything else. The number of conservatives I talk to that have been like, well, I wouldn't mind immigrants if they would just like stop committing so much crime and stealing our jobs. It's like, okay. Now, what if that wasn't happening? What if that wasn't happening? Then how would you feel? 80% of Palestinians supported Hamas after October 7th. See, if you actually knew what you were citing, you would also know that that specific statistic comes from a larger data set. And one of the questions and one of the parts of that data set that you are attempting to quote incorrectly because you're a racist piece of shit who has no empathy for other human beings is how many Palestinians supported October 7th or supported Hamas's actions on October 7th after seeing the footage. And when you actually look at that number, it declines to significantly below 20%. I think it was like 15%. Because they had no internet, you fucking moron. You idiot. They had no internet to see what the fuck was happening, you fucking moron. And when they were shown some of the atrocities and the fact that people were being killed, they weren't for it. Like, how about you try looking at the sources for the shit that you're trying to quote instead of looking like a fucking dumbass? Why didn't they have internet? Well, I don't know. Maybe because Defense Minister Yoav Gallant said he ordered a complete siege of the Gaza Strip. I have ordered a complete siege. There will be no electricity, no food, no fuel. Everything is closed. We are fighting human animals and will act accordingly. Maybe because the Defense Minister of Israel ordered no internet to the world's largest open-air prison. You fucking moron, you dunce. No, he was pranking when he said that. He didn't actually mean it. Hamas has turned off water lines to commit terrorist attacks. Isn't it sad that the second anyone shows you any facts, you immediately cope and just start saying some shit? Isn't that incredible? Did you not read the part where the defense minister said there will be no electricity, no fuel, no food? How that cope? It's also a fact. You literally don't even have a source. Like, I don't even know what to say. You're actually just like brain dead, I think. I think you might actually just be brain dead. Guys, don't ask him for a source, okay? He doesn't have one. Source, he made it the fuck up. It's so pathetic. It's an Asman chatter. I mean, obviously, because they are fighting terrorists who hide it among citizens. Oh, the school shooter is in the building? Let's bomb the building with all the children in it. The school shooter is hiding behind the children, so let's fucking nuke the school! That's what you think is a good strategy? Are you fucking stupid? You kill every civilian nearby to get the single person who's doing a crime? That sounds like a good strategy. Oh, there are terrorists in the United States. Let's nuke the entirety of the United States because there are terrorists in it. It's just like, the stupidity is out of control.
where she admits, the crime of humanity, of collective punishment, where you're destroying a food source that people rely on while also closing off the access to humanitarian aid. I'm fine with that, she says. They deserve it. And there's other moments of clarity, like she references the prominent Palestinian journalist Bisan Owda while denying the famine. To do this, Mia points at her weight.
You know what you reminded me that I forgot to say? We were talking about the obese Gazans, and I think the best example, he just said journalist, it reminded me, is Bisan. Wizard Bisan. She is a journalist in Gaza, of course sponsored by Hamas, and she has been yapping about a famine since 2023. Now,
sponsored by Hamas. Source, I made it the fuck up.
You don't know about Bisan is
he has been blowing up lately. She's getting millions of views, but her most popular videos aren't about Israel. They're about Muslims.
Why is the halal section in Tesco so small?
Because fuck my fucking life, that's why.
Why do we get only this little section here?
Maybe because you're not in a Muslim supermarket. And his caption goes, especially in a Muslim majority town. The craziest thing to me about this is the sense of entitlement. They will go live in these countries that have cultures that completely contradict everything they are as human beings and the countries that they came from.
Contradict everything that they are as human beings? I'm gonna be real with you for one brief moment. First and foremost, if anyone here doesn't know, if you are not Muslim, you can eat halal food. They don't like butcher the animal in a specific way that kills you if you're not Muslim. If you guys were curious about that, yeah, you can eat halal food. It's safe to eat if you are not Muslim. I promise. I wouldn't lie to you. Halal chicken is significantly better. I'm a chef by trade. I mean, listen, the halal food trucks, they go crazy, all right? I had to show them my Habibi pass to get the good lamb. I'm just saying the halal lamb has always been better than like every other type of lamb I've gotten. So just want you guys to know that really fast. Second, bro is wearing, you guys remember that guy that would like wake up at 4 a.m. and then he would rub a banana on his face and drink Saratoga water or whatever? He's repping the same exact, the nose strip thing. It's supposed to like help you breathe better or something at night. Aston Hall, is that his name? Yeah, that guy. If you're repping this, you've assimilated into the American culture. All right? I don't know what to say. This like, you're going to a country that means, that is nothing at all like what your values are. Bro is repping the fucking, the breathe right strip. I don't know, man. That looks like assimilation to me.
And instead of assimilating to the culture, they will do shit like this. Again, it's the sense of entitlement that gets me, because you will never see an English person going to one of the 57 Muslim fucking countries, walking into the supermarket and asking, why is everything halal here? You guys need to fix it. He will get shot in the fucking head.
They're about how Muslims are evil and bad and can't assimilate, and the comments reflect this perspective. Obviously, Islamophobia is kind of inherent to Israel. How else are you going to get all the people out of there that you're trying to get to leave? But because defending Israel is so unpopular right now, what his defenders have been doing are latching onto.
You gotta love that the Israel defenders are so fucking stupid, by the way. Like, look at this guy. Look at how dumb these people are. I'm glad that people finally realize that these people are fucking stupid. Genocide is a special intent to destroy a people in part or in whole or in part. Gazans have increased in population since. Hey, dumbass. What does intent mean? Really quickly. Did you read the sentence you wrote? Did you read it? You wrote it. You fucking moron. Hello? There's no words, man. Oh my God. He's so dumb. Special intent, you idiot. Hey, have you tried reading? Have you tried reading? I know that that's really hard for someone who wants to defend Israel's genocide because you love murdering brown people. But yeah, you can actually just read it here. It's a legal term referring to the actual intent to perform some act along with a desire for the consequence that results from that act. Implies individual not only intended to perform the act, but also aimed to achieve a particular outcome or consequence through that act. So that would be like, wanting to conduct a genocide, saying you want to conduct a genocide, and then bombing every single hospital, school, home, facility of any kind in the Gaza Strip. So yeah, you should try fucking reading. So stupid, dude. I can't.
Right-wing Islamophobic movements as an explicitly stated propaganda tactic from their own ministers of propaganda.
עם האגף השמרני האמריקאי והאירופי, נגד האסלאם הקיצוני ונגד האחים המוסלמים. זה צריך להיות האסטרטגיה. כי כאן יש לנו בעצם בסיס משותף, שהוא לא לבוא ולומר כמה חשוב להתייחס, להיות נגד האנטישמיות. האנטישמיות לא מעניינת, לא את האירופאי הממוצע ולא את האמריקאי הממוצע. האסלאם הקיצוני מאוד מעניין אותם. מאוד מאוד מעניין אותם. ולכן צריך לנצל את הדבר הזה.
Whether this will work or not, it remains to be seen, I guess. But for now, just keep an eye on it, because that's what they're going to be doing for the foreseeable future. Winning back the right-wing American populace through their mutual hatred of Muslims and Arabs kind of undercuts the whole, democracy in the Middle East thing they've been saying, but I'm sure they'll drop that line at some point. But yeah, okay, so I'm going to wrap the video here, because I feel like that's enough on this particular point. But there's more here that I'll be returning to at some point for more videos. Hopefully that was helpful in some way. If you thought so, leave a like and let me know what you thought. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye.
It's so crazy to me. It's so crazy to me that these people are real. It's just so crazy. By the way, the Gaza population has dropped. Gaza population falls by 6% since start of war. It's like every part of it is just wrong. Like, it's just so insane to me. It's so... You're using Al Jazeera. It literally doesn't matter what source I use, because you're going to think all of these are wrong. Look at this. Look at this guy. Special intent, you idiot. Special intent. Dolus specialist. Hey, again, just try reading. Dolus specialist or specific intent. They're used interchangeably. Special and specific intent are used interchangeably. Just keep going. Just keep going. Saying it in a different language doesn't make you right. It's just tough. Bro goes to the function and goes, ipsum lorem. Am I right? Yeah. You're all wrong. It's called Latin. Fucking moron. Got here what I walk into. Oh, some guy who loves murdering brown children. So he's trying to defend it, the usual. Hey, you can't use the United Nations human rights. They're also Hamas is the problem. Israel has committed genocide in the Gaza Strip. UN Commission finds. This is Hamas. This is literally, everybody knows Hamas has control over the United Nations. And it's antiseptic to use the UN's reporting as factual, okay? You can't do that. Wait 1 second. Where's the... Sorry, I'm looking for something really fast. This was the other thing that I saw. I'm sure many of you guys have seen this already, but can you imagine thinking that the Israeli officials aren't trying to kill as many Gazans as possible? Meanwhile, Israeli minister says it may be moral to starve 2 million Gazans, but no one in the world would let us. We want to starve all 2 million of them, but people get so mad when you do that. They literally say it. The Israeli officials literally say it all of the time. They literally talk about it all the time, about how they want to raise Gaza. There's this one as well. I can't find it. There was one particularly heinous quote. I think that there was one particularly heinous quote from Smotrich about we won't be done until every single Gazan or every single person in Palestine or in Gaza is killed or something like that. Smotrich is an actual terrorist, by the way. Yeah. Israeli officials have admitted to genocide multiple times to the public. Why do pro-Israel people act like they haven't? Cope. Because the brown people have to be the evil people. Look at this. Look at this. This guy does not understand how language works because he needs to defend his Nazi ideology as hard as he can. It specifically means intent and action. Have they done what he said? Again, the definition literally says the intention to destroy a particular nation, ethnic, racial, or religious group in part or in whole. Perpetrators must be shown to have had this intent. Unlike broader war crimes or general crimes against humanity, genocidal intent necessitates a deliberate aim to eliminate the targeted group rather than merely displace or harm its members. And he looks at every single official saying, we need to kill all of them. We need to starve all of them. And then says, well, how have they proven that they wanted to do that? The guy who said it would be moral to starve 2 million Gazans and then proceeded to not allow any food to enter. You're looking at the definition of genocidal intent, not genocide. Yeah, they're showing genocidal intent, which is what the fuck you're talking about here. Hello? Dumbass? Hello? Like, the stupidity is off the... I can't. Smotrich clip. There must be a final political leg. As my predecessors have said, we'll remove the terrible idea of dividing the land and establish a state with terror at its heart, a state that would threaten the entire state of Israel. Security, peace of citizens from the table forever. In the light of Hamas's refusal to accept the American ultimatum, that's literally not what happened. Israel refused to follow the ceasefire. To dismantle and disarm, I call on the Prime Minister to give instructions to occupy Gaza, to occupy the central camps, establish a military government, complete Israeli control, establish settlements in the entire Gaza Strip. Oh, okay. Yeah, just normal stuff here. There was also the reference to Amalek by Netanyahu at one point, but guaranteed that Katter is a Hutch subscriber. I'm calling it. Oh my god. Jesus fucking Christ. Oh my god. Christ almighty, dude. like, look at how stupid these people are. It was proven to be from a different chapter in the Bible. LOL. Bitch, why are you LOLing? I know your ass is not laughing. Your ass is depressed. You have no friends, no loved one. Your family hates you. They despise when you come up from the basement because they have to look at your ugly ass mug and they have to deal with your annoying ass. Why are you LOLing? There's nothing to laugh about. There's no joy in your life. Please be fucking for. And worst thing about you, you lose all your fucking rank games, bitch. You're the fucking chud in everyone's life that has to deal with you. What you LOLing about, big dog? You are not LOLing about anything. Please be fucking for real. Oh god. Anyway, sorry, I don't allow freak Nazi genocidal freaks in my chat, so it was fun playing with you, but try empathy as an idea. Try empathy as an idea. Okay.